Welcome to today's reading lesson, Nature's Wonders, Poetry about our amazing Earth. The Elementary Curriculum and Development Department presents a read aloud and writing mini lesson featuring Tasha, Kelley, and Amy Schkade. Today's objective will be 4.9b. I can explain figurative language such as simile, metaphor, personification that the poet uses to create images. Let's review our anchor charts, starting with elements of poetry. Poetry can tell a story, describe a situation, or appeal to the senses. So here are the structures of a poem. There's a line break, where each line or text ends. Then they have a stanza. Stanzas are a group of lines within a poem. Here are some literary devices that are found in poems. We have rhyming words. Rhyming words are words that the same ending sounds are at the end of lines or stanzas. You will also find rhythm. Rhythm is a pattern of stressed syllables that create a beat. We also have imagery. That is when words that create images that appeal to our senses. Alliteration. Alliteration is the same sound or letter at the beginning of words or lines. Then there's onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia, that's when the word imitates the sound it represents, like bzzz and boom. And then there's repetition. That is when lines or words that are repeated to stress importance. We also have our figurative language anchor chart. Figurative language creates a special effect or feeling or makes a point that includes figures of speech that compare, exaggerate, or mean something different from what is expected. We have simile. A simile is a comparison of two things using like or as. Here's an example. I'm happy as a clam. Let's look at metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison of two things by saying one thing is another thing. Listen to this example. You must be a walking encyclopedia to know all those facts. Then we have personification. Personification gives human qualities or characteristics to an animal or object. Then there's alliteration. Alliteration is a sound device used to repeat the same consonant sound at the beginning or nearby words. Here's an example. Sally sent Susan some samples of soup. Next is assonance. Assonance is a sound device used to repeat the same vowel sounds in nearby words. Here's an example of that. That cat ran past the man. And next we have sensory language. That is when words that appeal to the five senses. Listen to this sentence. The summer breeze smelled like fresh cut grass. Now, before we get started on our story, here are some words to know. There will be words in the story that you may have heard of before, but really don't know what they mean. Let's go over those words now. Here is our first word, idle. Can you say idle? Yes, idle. If something is referred to as idle, it is not doing anything. An idle boast is bragging about something that cannot happen. Your mind can be very idle on a lazy day. The next word is diverse. Can you say diverse? Yes, diverse. If something is diverse, it is made up of things that are different from each other. The marine life in the ocean is so diverse that I saw over 40 types of fish at the aquarium. The next word is fathom. Can you say fathom? Yes, fathom. If you fathom something, you understand it. Roberto could not fathom how the goat got stuck in the fence. Here is our next word, wrath. Can you say wrath? Yes, wrath. Wrath is strong anger. If you are filled with wrath, you might find it difficult to control your anger. You do not want to experience the wrath of mother when the kitchen is not clean. Now it's time for us to jump right into our story, Nature's Wonders, poetry about our amazing earth. Prepare yourself for an adventure through poetry. These stories will take you around the world to experience nature's beautiful wonders. Here's your thinking job. As I am reading, I want you to identify the many uses of figurative language in the different poems. Now let's enjoy a video that you are about to watch on the next slide that will prepare you for your first poem. The Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest system of coral reefs. It lies off the northeast coast of Australia. The reef is a living thing made up of small tube-shaped animals called coral polyps and their limestone skeletons. The reef is home to the most diverse mix of marine life on Earth. Because of this, it is sometimes called the rainforest of the sea. Now, let's go ahead and read our poem, The Great Barrier Reef by Robert Schechter. In the Coral Sea off the coast of Queens, Australia. It's 1,600 miles long along the Queensland coast. The barrier reef, whose name is Great, and that's no idle boast. It's 1,600 miles long and every inch alive. Perhaps you'd like to have a look. You do not need to dive. Let's look at paragraph 2. When the poet says, and every inch alive, why do you think the poet puts this in the poem? Obviously, every inch is not technically alive. Sand and water are not alive. I think the poet is using personification to describe the reef as having living things so that we can relate. Let's continue reading our poem. Or even get your swimsuit wet to see this awesome place. The reef, so huge, is visible by astronauts in space. To think you can be orbiting the Earth while looking at a teeming turtle, dolphin, whale, and porpoise habitat, your eyes will tell the story and you will not doubt its moral. There's hardly anything on earth more beautiful than coral. Hmm. Let's look at paragraph 5. Listen to that again. Your eyes will tell the story, and you will not doubt its moral. We know eyes cannot talk. You are correct. We call that personification. So I think the poet wants us to know that when we see the reef in person, nothing will compare to its beauty. Now, reading the poem about the Great Barrier Reef was very eye opening. We are now ready to move on to a cooler climate for our next poem. Enjoy the video to introduce you and get you ready for our second poem. Located in the Himalayas in South Asia, Mount Everest is 29,035 feet above sea level. That makes it the highest peak in the world. Everest was formed when the Indian tectonic pushed against the Asian plate. Each year, Everest grows a little over an eighth of an inch. This is due to the fact that the Indian plate continues to move against the Asian plate. In the 1920s, British expeditions made multiple attempts to climb to the top of Mount Everest. On May 29, 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norway were the first recorded people to make it to the summit. However, British explorers George Mallory and Andrew Irving may have reached the summit first. In 1924, they disappeared while attempting the climb. To this day, no one knows whether or not they made it to the summit. Now, here's our poem about Mount Everest. Mount Everest, Himalaya mountains on the border between Tibet and Nepal in Asia. Eyes travel up to the skies, following the path of the mountain's rise. The wind's wrath whips through our tents as my heart skips and trips. We hush our fears through the night. Rushing gusts of wind and snow frighten us in jest as we wait for that warming sight, the morning light, and continue this quest to a point higher than the rest, a height that will be conquered by only the best. The strength of muscle will be put to test to climb to the top of Mount Everest. How does the poet use sensory language to tell you about the experience of climbing Mount Everest? Hmm. Yes, you're right. The poet wants us to feel the experience and the thoughts of the climbers. Now let's look at some examples. Here's our poem about Mount Everest again. Now that we have read this poem, let's look at some of those examples that the poet used to create images. Hmm, this poem has a unique shape. Why do you think the poet did this? Yes, the arrangement mirrors the shape of the poem's topic, Mount Everest. Doesn't that really get your mind ready to hear about a mountain? Or at least thinking about one? Listen to this part again. Eyes travel up to the skies. Can you see yourself looking up to the skies? Can you feel the cold wind hitting against you so much that tents can't protect you? Well, let's look at line 7 of the poem. The poet uses personification to describe the heart skipping and tripping. What do you think the author is trying to tell us? Mm, mm. Yeah, I think the author wants us to have that same feeling of our heart skipping. Like when we feel cold water dumped on us, or when we jump in the cold pool. Ooh, very tense. Wow. Now, from the tallest mountain, we are going to dive down to the deepest depths of the Mariana Trench. Enjoy the next video to get you prepared for our next poem. Trench is the lowest point in the world. It lies beneath the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean. The first people to explore the Mariana Trench were Don Walsh and Jacques Picard. They traveled in a steel capsule made to withstand the crushing pressures tens of thousands of feet below the sea. Here's our poem, The Mariana Trench. Western Pacific Ocean, east of the Mariana Islands. In all the oceans, nowhere else so deep, so dark with secrets men won't let it keep. It yields to humans' eyes and submarines, and then, full of itself, goes back to sleep. In stanza 2, the poet tells us that the Mariana goes to sleep. Hmm, I have a couple of questions for you. Does the Mariana lay down and go to bed like you and I? Think about that. No, you're right. We call that figurative language. The poet has just used personification to help us visualize the calmness of the Mariana. Let's go ahead and finish our poem. You wouldn't dream that hidden at its core, life would go on as it has done for more than the most of time, those 7 heavy miles of water pressed down upon its floor, to fathom it at last, to put on show all that it holds laid out in a neat row, may happen sooner than to do that too, the mind of someone whom you think you know. So now that we've gone over all of those poems and we've identified figurative language within them, I think you can write your own poem. Let's write a poem. Poems are written with words chosen for their sounds and the feelings they suggest, as well as their meaning. A poet's choice of words help to create pictures in a reader's mind. First, you choose a topic. You can write a poem about almost anything. Think about the text you read. Choose a topic that you would like to use as the inspiration for a poem. You might choose a character, a setting, an event, a fact, or even a picture. After you've done all of that, now it's time to brainstorm. Brainstorm words and phrases to use in your poem. Draw pictures and make lists to collect ideas. Look back at the text to help you expand your list with many options. What thoughts and feelings about the topic do you want to express? So now it's time to write. Write your poem. Try out a few lines, a few rhymes, and interesting sounds. Write the lines in different ways to create different effects. Use words that paint clear pictures in your reader's mind. Read your poem many times to be sure you like how the words sound together. And then revise it as needed. Don't forget to share your great work. Share your poem with others. Plan a poetry reading with the group. Celebrate your writing. Invite classmates and friends to be the audience. How can you use your voice, body movements, and props to make your poem come to life? This would be something really great you could share with your next meeting.
And remember, when you write your poem, to use these anchor charts, the elements of poetry. Poetry can tell a story, describe a situation, or appeal to the senses. The structure has line breaks and stanzas. Line breaks are where each line of text ends. Stanzas are a group of lines within a poem. There are also literary devices such as rhyming words. Those are words with the same ending sounds at the end of lines or stanzas. A rhythm is a pattern of stressed syllables that create a beat. Imagery, words that create images that appeal to the senses. Alliteration, the same sound or letter at the beginning of words or lines. That would be something like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, something like that. That's alliteration. Onomatopoeia, that's a word that imitates the sound it represents, like buzz and thud. Repetition is when lines or words that are repeated to stress importance. The other anchor chart that we gave for you is figurative language, and this is really fun to throw in to use. Figurative language creates a special effect or feeling or makes a point. This includes figures of speech that compare, exaggerate, or mean something different from what is expected. A simile is a comparison of two things using like or as. I'm happy as a clam. A metaphor is a comparison of two things by saying one thing is another thing. You must be a walking encyclopedia to know all those facts. A personification gives human qualities or characteristics to an animal or an object. The moon follows me when I walk at night. Alliteration is a sound device used to repeat the same consonant sound at the beginning of nearby words. Sally sent Susan some samples of soup. Assonance is a sound device used to repeat the same vowel sounds in nearby words. The cat ran past the man. Sensory language, words that appeal to the five senses. The summer breeze smelled like fresh cut grass.
Well, now is your turn. And I know you may not finish your writing now, but you have plenty of time to really get your thoughts together and write a really great poem like I know you will. And now it's time to say goodbye. I really enjoyed traveling around the world with you, but this brings today's lesson to an end. As you continue to read and write, remember great readers and writers look for figurative language to make a connection with their reading and to bring their writing to life. Because you all are amazing readers and writers, I know you'll do that during your independent time. So until next time, go and be great.